I became the first Marcos to run in the 1st District of Ilocos Norte and emerge victorious. But me becoming congressman of the 1st District means that we must now tackle the problems that face us not only in Ilocos Norte but in the entire country. We face an economy that is ridden with rising prices, inflation, higher gas prices due to a war which we cannot control. But despite this tall order, I promise all of you here, to all my kakailian, that as your 1st District representative, I will bring pride to Ilocos Norte within the House of Representatives. I have made sure that despite not officially taking office, that we have to hit the ground running. I am sure, and I'm sure it has to be said, that despite being the congressman of the 1st District, also being the soon-to-be presidential son, is not without its tall expectations and big demands. So I have met with the necessary agencies to make sure that once I assume office, that we will hit the ground running and that we have numerous projects in place. I have made sure with whatever budget is left for this year that we have programs that we can implement, namely the installation of certain infrastructure projects such as solar lights in the bypass road of Lawag City and in the most dimly lit areas of the 1st District of Ilocos Norte. Secondly, to bring back the employment that we have lost due to the pandemic, I have reinitiated, after speaking with the Department of Labor and Employment, the government internship program, which has unfortunately taken a backstage in recent time, and that is po to not only provide the short-term remedies that TUPAD would provide, but give a 6-month internship program to 18 to 30-year-old applicants to work in any agency of government in Ilocos Norte paid for by the district office. These are part of many of the plans and programs that we all have in order to address these issues. But to be able to curtail these programs, I must ask of you that the time for politics has come to an end. The time for public service in Ilocos Norte has begun. So we here, no matter what political color, red, green, pink, blue, or white, I ask that we stand together as one Ilocos Norte, as one solid North. Only then can we make sure that we support the incoming administration of President-elect Bongbong Marcos to the best of our capabilities. Alam niyo po, nung nag-usap kami ng aking tatay at sinabi ko po na nanenervyos talaga ako na tumakbo sa unang distrito. Sinabi niya po sa akin, alam niyo Sandro, nung nakaraan po at pumunta kami sa Hawaii, nung lahat po ng tao ay hindi na lumalapit sa akin, ang mga tao lang na tumulong sa amin ay ang mga Ilocano. Kaya po, ang sinasabi ko ngayon, kailangan lahat po kayo rito ay naging kasama namin sa kahirapan. Dapat na dapat magkasama rin tayo sa tagumpay. Kaya po, I am hoping that from this day forward, we bring forth that message of unity, not just as a campaign message, not just as a campaign slogan, but that we live by it over the next 6 years of this incoming administration. But once again, I am here to say thank you and give my gratitude as the new kid on the block. And it makes me so happy to say that I am here, Congressman-elect Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, not just ready to serve, but now at your service, Apo. Diyos unay, tiag nina, agbiag, Ilocos Norte, Apo.
I was watching the presentations that were made, and we really have to give Secretary Cristina a round of applause for all that she has already managed to do in, 103 days. And to show that we have very much to look forward to when it comes in the area of tourism. Very early on, even before I took office, in consultation with our economic managers, with even private businessmen, it became very clear from the very beginning that as we transform our economy, one of the possible and high potential drivers for the transformation for the economy was tourism. And the reason is, I think, to us all quite obvious, because we in the Philippines have been so fortunate to have been born to this very beautiful country. And even more so, we have been so lucky to be born to such beautiful people. And that's why immediately I said that this is something that we can show the world. And immediately this will come to help. All the preoccupation at the very beginning was we always talked about jobs. We always talk about employment. And I have a bit of experience in Ilocos Norte when we promoted tourism very quickly. And it became very clear to me immediately that the upstream and the downstream employment that tourism brings is significant. And I thought that we should do this back to the Philippines. And I felt a great deal of sadness to watch during the pandemic these beautiful places that are slowly going to seed simply because we were not allowed to travel. So once it was possible, I thought immediately that this is a driver of our economy. And we must immediately do all that we can to make sure that this asset that the Philippines has must be used to bring jobs to people, good jobs to people, to bring visitors to our country, to once again, as we have said during the trips that we have taken these past few weeks, to reintroduce the Philippines to the world. And that, I think, is what we will be trying to do. And I think the Secretary has taken us in the very good direction to achieve that. And so the strategies that we decided to employ were really rather simple. And it is that we will develop our resort areas. We will develop those that are already known. We will also find new ones. But the government has to play its part. We will do all the publicity and we will welcome all our friends from all over the world. But the government has to do its part. And the government's part is that we develop and that we make sure that these beautiful places, number one, have the people to run them, the staff to run them, and that's why the job fair was an immediate priority. That we have people to run these resorts to an international level. Another thing that we considered was immediately necessary was that we must improve the accessibility of all of these places, to have direct access to smaller airports, not necessarily the big airports of Manila, of Cebu, of CDO, of Gensan, but also to the smaller areas. And furthermore, that we must provide the infrastructure to develop that access, the infrastructure to develop the area. And I was just noting when I was when I first arrived, I said, well, precisely because the secretary in all our cabinet meetings is saying, but I'm to develop the infrastructure. I don't have the budget for it. We don't have enough money that has been given to us. And so you'll note that the Secretary of Public Works and Highways is in a very important place of honor, because I think the Secretary has some sinister plans on your budget, and of course also the Secretary of Trade and Industry, because we have to promote this, we have to put together these operations so that they are efficient, and we will get the testimonials from our visitors, and they will say that they will hopefully post, tweet, and say that I just came from Manila, I just came from a vacation in the Philippines, and it was absolutely wonderful. You should all come and try it. That is what we are trying to achieve. And we have achieved it before. And I think we can, especially with the very good people that we have asked and who have kindly enough agreed to help us. And that is, of course, our Secretary for the Department of Tourism, Secretary Cristina Frasco, our cabinet members who all immediately understood what it is that we were trying to do. And I really look forward, and I have great optimism, and I have great hope that this will be successful. And I believe that it will be. Because once again, like in all our endeavors in this government, we always come back to our greatest asset. And the greatest asset that we have in the Philippines are the 107 million Filipinos who are a young, well-trained workforce, who are as kind a people, as hospitable a people, as gracious a people as you will find anywhere in the world. And those advantages is what we are going to present and to, again, as I said, reintroduce to the rest of the world. This is the Philippines. This is the Filipino.
I didn't proclaim martial law alone. It is made to appear as if I just signed the decree and said, I impose martial law on each and every one of you. No. I asked the legislature to please pass a law proclaiming martial law because there was anarchy in the country. Now, let me say this. The opposition was strong. And they were members of the Security Council, and somehow they adopted a resolution which required that there be a unanimous vote for the armed forces to be able to move. And therefore the armed forces was immobilized. At the same time, I asked the opposition party to come and join me in a coalition government. I offered one half of the cabinet. And of course they laughed at me and said, why should we join you? We're going to take over the government. By the time you are through with the exercise, you're dead, politically and otherwise. So, and they refused to join me. I asked the advice of the judiciary. I asked the Supreme Court justices, the Court of Appeals justices, and the members of the private sector. And all of them told me there's only one man who can proclaim martial law, and that is the President. And you are it. You are the only one who can proclaim martial law. This is why I must carry this particular mark in our history. I could not have transferred it to the legislature. Why? Because the legislature did not have the power. What does the Constitution provide? The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and he may order the armed forces out to quell any disorder, riot, rebellion, invasion, insurrection, and in case of invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, when the public safety requires it, he may suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or proclaim martial law throughout the Philippines or any part thereof. What does that provision provide? It provides that only the President can proclaim martial law. I repeat, that is why I had to assume responsibility. And I am not one for shirking duty. The people said there was necessity for proclaiming martial law. And the people said, you are the only official who can proclaim martial law. So I proclaimed martial law. And I sincerely believed that it was necessary to proclaim martial law to install order and stability, because there was complete anarchy throughout the country at the time. Now, therefore, at that particular period, what was the status of our government? Our government was immobilized, impotent. The armed forces could not move out. The industry was not at all in any way moving. There was no income coming into government. Everybody was running away. They burned the U.S. Partly burned the U.S. Embassy, tried to burn it anyway. They tried to kidnap the American ambassador. American ambassador was Byroad, Ambassador Byroad. And they tried to kidnap our foreign minister, Romulo, whom you just saw today. And I told him, you better disappear because I will not ransom you. But whatever it is, they burned the Manila International Airport, they bombed the Supreme Court, they bombed the Constitutional Convention, they bombed the City Hall, they burned part of Malacanang Palace, they attempted to kidnap my children, they attempted to kill the President 8 times. There was, of course, an attempted assassination against the First Lady. You all know about that. And this required that I immediately act on it, and so I did. Now, we established land reform. We were fighting a group known as the Hukbalahap, Hukbong Nagpapalaya ng Bayan. It was socialist inclined. It was leftist. But they were friends of mine because we had fought in the Second World War together. And so I approached them and I said, look, I'm going to establish land reform. If you're fighting for land reform against the feudalistic agrarian system, then you must join me. And they did. I want to introduce to you the leader of that rebellion, who is now present and is a part of the government, Mr. Luis Tarup. He is a member of the National Assembly. One reason why he ran to the hills, according to him, was he was elected as a member of the old legislature and he was not recognized as such. He and the others. Now I want to introduce to you another leader of the Free Farmers Federation, which is also composed of farmers who wanted reform, but who are fighting for reform, but who are now joining in the effort to establish political stability and economic prosperity throughout the country, and who was Dean of the College of Law of the University of Ateneo, but abandoned his deanship in order that he may join in the effort to attain the noble mission of this new society. I refer to National Assemblyman Jerry Montemayor, President of the Federation of Free Farmers of the Philippines. I would like to introduce also to you a young man who was very active against the government in 1972, and who paraded around the streets raising the flag of the Communist Party and organized the Kapatid Makabayan, which is the red organization of the youth. And this man is Ninoy. Is he here? Anyway, he is somewhere around here. But they have all joined, all these activists, to prove to you that all these stories about our being oppressive against our enemies and our friends, they've all joined the government to help reform and drive out all the corrupt people in the government. We have an ombudsman. We are the only country with an ombudsman. You know what an ombudsman is? He's the officer who watches over the corrupt officials of government, and this man has charged more than 1,000 officers and employees, and sent most of them to jail. Is Justice Pamaran here? He must be somewhere around. Where's Justice Pamaran? There he is. There's the ombudsman. And we have not deprived anybody of private property. On the contrary, while we are a free enterprise society, we have an egalitarian base. We recognize private property, encourage private initiative. And our Constitution explicitly recognizes the importance of developing the national economy and protecting the patrimony of the nation. In line with this, a National Economic and Development Authority has been created for the purpose of planning and coordinating economic development plans. I chair that Economic Development Commissioner. Now, I did not come all the way here to recite these basic facts to you, but it is best that we wrote this at once, they form an important background of understanding the developments in my country. Relations between the United States and the Philippines now span, I'd say 84 years if you mark the Battle of Manila Bay, 184 years perhaps if you mark the brig Salem, from Salem, which when it returned to Salem brought back hides, indigo, lumber, pepper, and paid 24,000 in tariff duties. Many things don't change, not even tariff duties. The trade between our countries is covered by a trade agreement. The military and security matters are covered by 3 agreements. Those agreements are, and I will now ask our friends in my staff to distribute these agreements to you, or as many as can receive them. These agreements are the Mutual Defense Pact, the Military Assistance Agreement, and the Military Facilities Agreement, which is due for review this coming year. President Reagan and I have agreed with the members of our cabinet that the review will start in April, probably we'll finish it by August. Through it all, our relationships develop in a way unique to nations so disparate in size and circumstances and so distant from each other. The direction which American colonization took in the Philippines in the political, economic, and military, cultural spheres were such that for us, relations with the United States would remain crucial for a while. It is said that language is the greatest conveyor of culture. If that be so, if that wise man who said that is right, then your language has certainly conveyed to my country your culture. And this is why the relationship between our countries is something undefined. Our interests may have diverged in the period after our recovery of national independence in 1946, but this relationship has endured. And the question that is often asked is, does the Republic of the Philippines differ from the American Republic? Yes and no. It doesn't differ in the sense that it is democratic, but it differs in the sense that we have a prime minister. and in the sense that we try and make the legislature and the president or the executive work together. We cannot afford any stalemates. We cannot afford any delays. It is a modified presidential form of government, while yours is a complete and pure presidential form of government. Why did we change this? Because we cannot afford stalemates and deadlocks. Yours is a strong economy and a military power. Ours is a weak country. We cannot afford to delay and postpone decisions pending the debates between Congress and the President or the Prime Minister. The poorer third world countries cannot. And so, my friends, that is the situation. I am now going to ask also that my staff distribute to you the social and economic indicators of my country in showing to you the dynamism and the vitality of our economy. We have changed our economy such that we hope to be able to be self-sufficient. We were importing rice before. The last time we imported rice was in 1976, 77. We paid $500 million for that price. Today, we are exporting rice to our neighboring countries. And the per capita income was about $200. Now, it is more than $800 per capita income. The gross national income has increased 5 times. I need not go any further. I'll wait for the questions, and now I am ready for interrogation.